She left before noon. He remembered that specifically. The time because he had looked at the clock when the door closed, the way you look at a clock during something significant without meaning to, as if the time of day matters, as if it will be useful information later. It was Christmas morning. The tree was still lit. He had made coffee for two, which he drank alone, and then he sat in the chair closest to the window and watched the street until the lights on the tree began to feel like an accusation, and he got up and turned them off. She had said she couldn't do this. By this she meant the uncertainty, the 11 days since the job had ended, the plan he had laid out carefully on paper, the future that had become, in her words, unrecognizable. He hadn't argued. He didn't think arguing would have changed the specific calculus she had already completed. She had looked at the numbers and made a decision, and the decision was him. He understood it. That was the worst part, those first weeks. He kept understanding it, which left him no clean place to put the anger. He bought the ticket 11 days later. Not with hope. With the automatic motion of a man whose hands needed something to do. The gas station was there, the line was short, the machine accepted his dollar. He folded the ticket into his jacket pocket and drove home and made dinner and forgot about it until the following Saturday morning when he checked his phone and saw the numbers and then looked at the ticket and then looked at his phone again. Then he sat down on the kitchen floor, not from joy, from something that has no clean name, the vertigo of a life that has changed shape twice in 11 days, in opposite directions, and the sudden awareness that you are the same person in both versions and must now decide what to do with that. He stayed on the floor for a long time. The coffee maker finished its cycle. The apartment made its small morning sounds. Outside, the street was doing what streets do on Saturdays. He didn't call anyone. The attorney was the first person he told, then the financial advisor the attorney referred him to. The process took several weeks and required a precision of documentation and decision-making that gave him, paradoxically, something to be organized, deliberate, present in the immediate task. He was good at tasks. He had always been good at tasks. He told no one his new address, not from strategy. From the simpler recognition that he needed to know who he was in the new life before anyone else could arrive with their own version of who he should be. He had watched in the weeks of processing, as the financial advisor's manner shifted almost imperceptibly, a new warmth, a new attentiveness, a quality of care that had not been present in the first meeting when he was simply a man with paperwork. He noticed it and filed it and said nothing about it and moved to a smaller city in March. The house was modest, the life was quiet. He planted things in the back garden because he had always meant to, and now had the time, which turned out to be a reason good enough. She appeared on a Tuesday in October. He saw her through the window before he opened the door, standing on the porch in a jacket he didn't recognize, which meant it was new, which meant time had passed in her life, the way it had in his. A mutual friend had seen him somewhere and mentioned it without understanding what they were handing her. He took one breath. He opened the door. She looked at him the way people look at someone they have rehearsed seeing, with an expression prepared in advance that the actual face in front of them slightly disrupts. He was, he knew, not quite the version of him she had been practicing for. He had planted things. He had slept well, mostly. He was different in small ways that probably showed. He offered her a glass of water. She accepted. They sat on the porch. She had prepared something. He could hear the preparation in the rhythm of it. She had missed him. She wanted him to understand that. She had thought about Christmas, thought about it many times, and she believed she had made a mistake. She said this with genuine feeling, which he didn't doubt. Feeling had never been the question. He listened. He watched her face while she spoke, not unkindly, but with the attention of a man who has recently learned to look at things directly rather than hopefully. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he told her about the lottery. Not as a weapon, as information, because she would find out, and he had learned something about himself in the past 10 months, which was that he preferred to be the one who said the true thing rather than the one who waited for it to surface on its own. He watched her face while he told her. He watched the listening change. Subtle. She was not a person without self-awareness, but present, a recalibration, a slight shift in the quality of her attention, the way a room changes when someone turns on a light you didn't know was off. She said, I don't know what to say. He said, you don't have to say anything right now. She left an hour later. She said she hoped he would think about what she'd said. He said he would, which was true. He sat on the porch after she drove away. The garden was going quiet for winter. The street was the ordinary street it had been before she arrived. Nothing had changed outwardly, which was strange because he just hadn't finished understanding its shape yet. He had the money, he had the house, he had the garden and the sleep and the 10 months of building something that belonged only to him. What he didn't have was certainty about any of it, about her, about himself, about the difference between wisdom and loneliness, between clarity and the performance of clarity. He sat with that. The light changed. He stayed on the porch.